If you're the type of person that believes that you're going to buy a Gen 6 and it's going to be drastically better than the current Gen 5 that you own, stop the video right now. This is not for you. All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. Long time no see. Today we're going to be talking about whether or not the Glock 17 Gen 6 is a cop or a drop in July of 2026. Let's get right into it. So I've had this gun for a few months now. I believe it's been 3 or 4 months total, maybe a little more. In total, I've put about 1,200 rounds on it as of today. And I just wanted to come on here and chat a little bit about whether or not your hard-earned money should go towards this gun if you're looking for a gun that sort of fits this genre today in 2026. And obviously, before we jump in, make sure you guys like and subscribe, turn on notifications to be notified when I do post my next video. And let's go over a few things that I like about the gun, a few things that I don't like about the gun, and whether or not I think that it's worth your money in 2026. All right, so first and foremost, what do I like about this gun? Number one, and this is going to be a recurring theme, comparing it to the previous generations. Not just comparing it to other comparable guns, but comparing it to previous generation Gen 5s. If you're the type of person that believes that you're going to buy a Gen 6 and it's going to be drastically better than the current Gen 5 that you own, stop the video right now. This is not for you. It is not going to drastically improve your shooting or user experience from your Gen 5 to your Gen 6. It is an iterative change for sure, but there are some things to go over and some benefits that you have if you don't currently have a Gen 5 that you may enjoy with the Gen 6. Now, I'm not telling you not to buy the Gen 6 if you have a Gen 5. I'm just saying it's not going to absolutely rock your world features-wise or shooting experience-wise. So just a disclaimer, put that out there. Also, obviously, Glock did not send me this. I am not a cool enough YouTube channel quite yet to make that happen. I bought this from my local Cabela's with my hard-earned Galactic credits for $620 before taxes and before the background check that I have to pay for some reason. So right off the bat, what do I love? Number one, Glocks in general, the Gen 5 and the Gen 6, I love the flared magwell. A lot of guns do not come with a flared magwell. You can see it is flared. If you look at it from the front, it is flared. It makes it really easy to conduct high-speed reloads. And it's not a removable magwell. It's not something you put onto the gun or take off. So obviously you can still shoot this in carry optics if that's something that you'd like to do. A lot of people do it. So the flared magwell, I absolutely love. There is one part, and obviously just so everybody's not freaking out in the comments, obviously it's clear and safe. There's no bullet in there. I cleared this like a bajillion times before I started the video. But on the back of the magwell here is this little channel. Obviously that just makes up sort of the back strap here. The magazine, I don't know if the light can see, that's a little better. The magazine just slides right up sort of this back part here. It's flat. That's where the back of the magazine rides. Sometimes if I'm not careful when I'm doing a reload, I will catch the magazine sort of on this ledge here. It's not a big issue for experienced Glock shooters. It has to just go in at a certain angle so you don't accidentally hit that ledge. But it can become an issue if you are reloading quickly. Like I said, if you're competition shooting. So what a lot of people do, and I believe Glock Store has a remedy for this, and there's a few different things, is brass plugs. So you can put a plug back here. It's made of brass, and it just is channeled to where it mimics the shape, but it's a little bit of a ledge so that your magazine can, instead of being caught on it, it'll sort of glide itself in. You can get them polymer, so it doesn't change the weight of the gun, or you can get them actually in brass, so it does change the weight balance of the gun. It's user preference. I know Ben Steger puts a brass plug in all of his Glocks to the best of my knowledge, specifically his Gen 5 47s. Some people like to do just the polymer plug because, again, it gives you the benefit of not getting your magazine caught, but also there's no disruption of the weight balance of the gun. I go 50-50 on the beaver tail. It doesn't get in the way, but it's not something that I even think about or notice. It's not a benefit or a downside. It's just there. I will tell you, I've not once ever used these thumb ledges or gas pedals one time, and I knew that when I bought it. For me, the amount of connection to the gun that I lose with my support hand by having to slide it so far forward that my short little thumb actually touches that ledge is more than I'd like to sacrifice shooting experience wise. Let's talk about this notch right here below the trigger guard. One of the biggest differences that I've personally felt between the Gen 5 and the Gen 6 has to do not only with the grip texture, and we'll talk about that, but this notch right here. The reason is you can just get so much higher on the grip with the gun that it becomes a lot more sort of second nature with the way that you grip it. My middle finger just goes right here. I kind of split the difference between my two knuckles. I don't like to overreach on the gun. Obviously, you don't want to be too far back to the extent that I don't have enough grip on it. It just goes right in the middle there. And then the beaver tail comes right on the meaty part, the taco of my hand, and my thumb rides on the other thumb, and so it kind of keeps it all center. So that's really helpful. I really do like this undercut. I know some people were doing the undercut to their Gen 5s. A concern that a lot of people had, including me, was that this polymer is very thin. There have been multiple drop test videos on these guns. I'm not going to drop test mine. I don't really see a purpose on it. Other people have sacrificed their hard-earned money already. I don't think this would ever break. The polymer is strong enough. I don't think that'll be an issue, but it does look quite thin just on first glance there. But I think that's been one of the main contributors to the overall increased, at least, feel of the gun. Now, before I get into some of my grievances with the gun, let's talk briefly about the mounting system, because I think that that'll be beneficial to sort of touch on, because like I said, I'm so about it. This is their new ORS, or Optics Ready system. It comes pre-cut from the factory on the slide, and it comes with some polymer sort of plates, really is what they are. People refer to them as crush washers. That's not what they are. They're plates because they change the compatibility of the gun. But you can see here, this is just the metal from the housing on my red dot here, the Romeo Zero Elite. But beneath the housing, there's an actual plate, and you can see the polymer plate sticking out back here. I have not had any issues with this. Let me just say that first. There have been people who have had issues with, let's just say, red dot longevity. Red dots have become loose for a lot of people, especially people who shoot a lot of rounds through these guns. I torqued these down and never touched it again. They have not become loose. Again, I'm about 1,200 rounds in, and it's not been an issue. A lot of people are switching to aftermarket plates with these guns, just like what they did with the Gen 5s. So you could consider that sort of a lateral change. You don't need to buy a plate anymore, but a lot of people are still buying plates. Probably the same people that were buying plates before are now buying plates now with the Gen 6. So again, it's sort of a lateral change rather than a benefit of the gun. I just figured I'd bring that up because, again, personally, I haven't had any issues, but a lot of people have. Now, to some of the things that I don't particularly love. This is going to be pretty short and sweet. In general, I do like this gun. However, the trigger is pretty terrible. It is what I would consider almost bendy. Once you get to the wall, it's just, I mean, you can hear it. You can feel it flexes. It almost bends. The trigger shoe safety squeaks. It just isn't all that awesome feeling. Once you break it, there is so much additional play. And I believe that has more to do with the actual, you can see the trigger moving. I believe that has more to do with the actual polymer bending itself than the quality of the internals. But again, it just is not very confidence inducing at all whatsoever. It's relatively heavy, about 5.5 pounds. There's nothing to write home about. It is a duty rated trigger. You can use it. It's not necessary to change it. I haven't changed mine. It is just not amazing. It is not an amazing trigger at all. It's worse than the Gen 5 for sure. A lot of people complained with the Gen 5 because it wasn't flat-faced. It was rounded. The trigger shoe safety also didn't recess all the way in. So you can see on this one, when I push it down, it becomes all the way flat, all the way across. With the rounded trigger, when you push down to the trigger shoe safety, some of the trigger shoe safety would stick out, so it would kind of rub your finger raw if you're shooting a lot or you're shooting quickly. That doesn't really exist in this gun all that much, or really at all. But again, the overall trigger quality, I'd say, is a decrease, not an increase. On the very last round, putting it into the magazine, so you load 9, and then on the 10th one, the rear part of the magazine would not go down anymore. It was like stuck inside of there internally. So if you're thinking about the bullet, the tip is here, and the rim is back here. The bullet would go down in the front, but not the back at all. So there was still some spring compression left, right? And you can see I can push on this and the back doesn't move all that much. The back just would not go down. So the Glock magazine loader sort of solves this. You put it over and it pushes only on the back part of the round, but it felt like I had to break it over a lip or something that was stuck in the magazine in order to do it. So not particularly enjoyable. Very hard to do at the range. My thumbs were raw for a long time trying to shove that 10th bullet in there. Something to note, these are also the 10-round communist magazines. Because I live in Comington, Washington, So I can't have the 17 rounders. So results may vary. Maybe the 10 round magazines had an issue. Yeah, it was noticeably very, very difficult to get the 10th round in. Impossible by hand. I'm not a weak guy. I'm a very muscular person, I'd say, compared to the average guy. But incredibly difficult. But yeah, let's get to the end all be all here. So do I think for $620, the Glock Gen 6 is the best bang for your buck? Absolutely not. Not even close, not even a little bit. I think that there are a ton of better options. I'll be making videos of some of those better options as I acquire more and more of them. I think that in today's day and age, the PDP is a great option. The M&P 2.0 series is an amazing option. But I can say pretty confidently that Glock is not the best at absolutely anything today. They're not the best in reliability. They're not the best in performance. They're not the best in affordability. I think what Glock has always done best is they've been the best all-around pistol. The trigger was heavy and gritty. You know, the grip angle was kind of weird, but other than that, it was a mostly okay gun. The problem that we have today is that there are just so many great options. Would I say that the gun is not worth it to buy? No. If you like Glocks and you want to buy a Gen 6, buy one, by all means. Again, I'm not an affiliate for Glock. I'm not an affiliate for any company. But are there better options out there? Absolutely. I think that you guys should know this. If you bought a Glock Gen 6, I wouldn't say you made a bad decision. But if you didn't buy a Glock Gen 6 and you went with something else, I would actually say that's a good decision. I would say that you looked at the evidence well and you said, this is not going to be the best bang for my buck. And I think that's the truth. I think that's a fair take about Glock in today's day and age. All right, guys, that'll be everything for me today. Let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. I'm reviewing some other things in the future. I've got a Glock 43X on the way. I'm doing a review on some of the O-Sight stuff. Thank you so much. Enjoy the summertime. Get out there shooting and let me know what you think.